coming to you in high definition. This is the Fox 9 Morning News.
There are lessons that can last a lifetime. Learn the 5 money concepts every child should know coming up. The Fox 9 Morning News. Good for the kids. Good reminder for the adults.
Big time.
Too, to save some of that. You want to raise rich kids. It's rhetorical for a number of people. Well, coming up next, an expert will share the lessons you need to teach your kids early on to ensure they make the right choices about money.
Very smart.
Well, it's a great week to talk about kids and money, and today is the start of National Financial Planning Week. And as we've all learned over the past few years, planning can make a big difference when it comes to money. We've learned that the hard way for many of us. Joining us this morning to talk about 5 money concepts children should know is local financial planning expert and author of If I Had $1 Million, How to Achieve Financial Independence Before Your Parents Do, is Tim Munkeby. So Tim, nice to have you on the program again.
Thank you.
Absolutely. You as a grandparent of, you have 9 grandchildren.
Correct.
Let's talk about the top 5 things that you suggest for kids that they learn when it comes to money. And first off, you start about something that's applicable for all of us, especially after we're going through this recession, and that is living within your means.
Right. These 5 things are really not just for young people, young adults. It's really what we all should have done, but many of us didn't.
Right.
Now, the kids have the advantage of time, so they can start doing it right now, and then, they'll be fine. The first one is what we are learning now is living within your means. It should be obvious you can't spend more than you make.
Right.
But when we have countries and cities, much less individuals spending more than they make, obviously that message was lost somewhere along the line.
And credit cards, I guess, make it easier for people to just, I'll just put it on the card and I'll pay it off as time goes by. But that's when we get into, that's one of those trappings we get into.
It's the primary culprit is credit cards because I don't want to blame this on parents, but kids have been raised thinking they don't really need money to buy anything, they just need credit to buy something.
Right.
So when you're in debt, there's really nothing you can do. You can't pay yourself when you're in debt because you're paying off the debt the entire time. So I guess if you're talking about credit cards, if you owe money at the end of the month and can't pay it off, you're spending more than you make, and it should be pretty obvious that can't last. That's not sustainable.
Right. We'll look at the number 2 thing to do here, and that is pay yourself first. So explain what that means.
You have to pay yourself. Even the government comes out with 10% is a good number. The more the better, but let's say a minimum of 10%. And that's done before you do anything else, before you eat breakfast in the morning. 10% is put away and you're living on the rest. Now that's a long-term investment. So that's 10% that is invested long terms. And it's tough to get young adults to think about that because they're not concerned about 30 or 40 years. They're concerned about who they're going to hang out with tonight.
Sure.
So we've got to get parents and grandparents involved in this as well, to give them this lesson that, okay, what you have to, because every adult that's read this book has said, I wish I would have known that when I was, their age. Mm-hmm. So what they've got to do is make sure, and I like to point out that grandparents are great mentors for grandkids too. Right. You've got to deal with your kids on this, and yes, you pay yourself first, 10%. And to give you an example, the best thing for them to be doing now is a Roth IRA, just to mention a specific. Not the vehicle, but just the program is a Roth IRA. Well, when I travel around to colleges and do speeches, they have no idea what a Roth IRA is.
Right.
So parents have to start getting involved with their kids and explain why is a Roth IRA the best and get those kind of
Get that conversation going.
Yep.
We're just about out of time, so we'll quickly go through the next ones. We're talking about building a rainy day fund.
Yep. So you have to have the 10% is long-term, but you have to have a cash reserve account. Car breaks down, you got to have money there, so you're not taking
unexpected expenditures, that type of thing. We'll talk about risk management with insurance.
Well, just to make sure the whole thing doesn't collapse. If you got something good going, you've got to have, you own a home insurance, you have auto insurance, health insurance, someone's dependent on you, life insurance. You're self-employed, probably take a look at disability insurance. That's just to protect the whole thing from collapsing.
And finally, buy a home as soon as you can, and with a disclaimer, I guess.
Yes, that's a tough one because a home is like an investment. It's real estate, so you're diversifying your investment, but you don't want to really be tethered if you're a young adult, to a home. As people are finding now, you've got to kind of go where the jobs are when they're tough. So if you've got a home that's underwater, which are one of the bad habits that we've created in the past is using home equity as an ATM. But so it's the best time right now for a young person to buy a home because prices are low, rates are low. So if they're starting a family, if they know they're going to stay around, it's and not need to be mobile and move, great time to buy a house. Right
Show us the book here once again. There it is with a great cover shot with your oldest grandchild now.
Right, and let me tell the grandparents
Yes.
this. After every, this is my oldest grandchild, every chapter has questions at the end of it, because I don't think parents have really jettisoned, helping kids. It's just they don't know how to do it.
Right.
So they need a track to run on. So that's what this is a track to run on. They should find some book, if not this one, that gets them into dialogue and discussion with their children.
And it's some good worksheets on there to work it out so they can see it in a visual way and they can grab hold of it and hopefully take it from there and run with it.
That's the idea.
And then help you with your retirement fund, if you know what I'm talking about.
Well, the ultimate irony, parents,
Yes.
is the more you spend and keeping your children dependent upon you, because when they graduate from college now, so many are moving back home again,
Right.
the more likely it is that you're going to move back in with them because you're using your retirement money
Right.
to educate them and and whatnot. And will they be welcoming you with open arms? Could be the ultimate irony.
That's a
So
good-
get them independent.
Good point. Excellent point. Tim, thanks for being on the program.
You're welcome. Thank you.
For more information on Tim and his book, you can log on to his website. It is timmunkabee.com. You can see it right there at the bottom of the screen.
Very good.